Selling your home can be an exciting time, but let's face it, you can also make really bad mistakes that can ultimately impact the price that you're going to be selling your home at, and also the length of time it takes for your home to actually sell. And so in this video, we're going to talk about the most common mistakes that sellers make so that you don't make them, especially in today's market, because it certainly is much more of a buyer's market than it was a seller's market just a few years ago. So there are quite a lot of things you can't necessarily do anymore, or you got to be really careful about, because buyers have options and buyers are not willing to go crazy on the prices. So number one, and that's the most obvious one, is don't overprice your home. If you want to sell it, sometimes you can get lucky. Maybe a buyer just sees something so unique in your property that they're willing to pay over the fair value. So if you're going to be overpricing your house, make sure that you have a unique property. If you determine that in your market there's plenty of other options out there, I can tell you that buyers, and let's just say they're working with an agent, the agent is going to say, here's the fair value range, the home is overpriced. So what I wanted to do is show you a chart, because it kind of illustrates the impact of overpricing your home. So in this chart, you're going to see the percentage of buyers who will view properties based on the asking price. So if the asking price is too high based on fair value, then the percentage of prospective purchasers who will look at the property is going to be really low. The closer you get to fair value, the more potential buyers are going to be looking at the home. I still see this where sellers are going way high with the idea of, well, all it takes is one buyer, okay? But that one buyer may not come around because there's so many other options here in Florida, in Sarasota, where I work in. Not only are there lots of listings on the market now versus just 2 years ago, but also new construction, which is actually not captured in the data that we're seeing. You have to know the market, and you have to understand as a seller what are the other options. And let's just assume you have an $850,000 home, fair value, but you're wanting to price it at $1 million. So you're on the market at $1 million. A buyer that's looking at your home might not even want to see it, even though they have an option of negotiation, right? Because they may be worried about offending the seller, and it's likely that they're just going to say, okay, I'm not going to see this house. It's way overpriced. You know, if we're going to come in at an offer, it would be at $150,000 lower. What are the chances? And the seller is going to get offended. And on they move to a property that's much better price. The closer you drop the price to fair value, perhaps even below fair value, you're going to be appealing to much more prospective buyers. And just from a technical standpoint, a buyer that is looking to just pay $850,000 or $870,000, that particular buyer on Zillow, on Realtor.com, wouldn't even see your home that's overpriced at $1 million. So you can see that pricing is really important. There's a window of opportunity when your listing first goes live. Typically within the first 3 to 4 weeks is when you will see the most action. That's when buyers are going to want to see your home because it just popped up, it's new on Zillow, on Realtor.com. Once you're in the 5th, 6th, and 7th week, the buyer pool will become smaller, and that's why it is very important that you maximize the beginning period of when your listing goes live. And that's why it's also really important that you price your home accordingly. If you have a super unique home, there's no other home like yours, then I think you can take a chance. But if there's a lot of options out there, homes that are very similar to yours, and you overprice it, chances are that your home is just going to stay on the market until you bring it down to fair value, or maybe even below fair value. Because guess what? If your home has been on the market for a long time, say 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, 150 days, buyers are just going to think there's something wrong with your home. It is proven that in the majority of the cases, if you come in too high, that you're actually going to be selling below fair value, because now your property has been stigmatized, even though there's probably nothing wrong with your home. It was just initially overpriced. If you want to test the market and you're wanting to see if you could get a little bit more for your home versus fair value, go in higher, but lower the price within 2 weeks to maybe 3 weeks of not getting an offer. Bring it down quickly. This is one that irks me so bad, especially when we're talking about a home that's not considered a fixer-upper. The inspector goes through there and finds leaks that haven't been repaired, a doorknob that came off, windows that don't close correctly. I mean, those are all things that need to be repaired
prior to selling.
Neglecting home repairs can really alter a buyer's perception of the quality of the home. They're thinking, well, what else is wrong with this home? What did the seller not take care of? If yours was the only home that was for sale in that community, yeah, you can take more chances. But then again, why wouldn't you maintain your home? And why wouldn't you make necessary repairs in order to make sure that the transaction is a very smooth one? Get an inspection done in your home before you even sell the house. Repair all major inspection issues that come out of there. And that way, once you put your house on the market, you know that when it comes to the inspection, it's going to look pretty good. The inspector isn't going to find anything because you've already done all the repair work. I think that's going to give you a lot more confidence when it comes to pricing your home, of course, marketing your home, and just going through the whole process of selling your house. Get an inspection. When it comes to meeting people, first impressions matter. And the same holds true with properties. There's certain updates that you can make in order to heighten that first impression. For one, you would want to make sure that the curb appeal has been heightened. And no, you don't have to get a gardener. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars to maximize the landscape. But I do think that your walkway needs to be clean, the lawn needs to be mowed, you want to make sure that you have nice plants maybe in the front of the house. You just yourself should be walking up to your front door. Look around and see what it feels like, because that's what a buyer is going to be experiencing. If the house has not been painted, let's just say it'll cost you $5,000 to paint the outside of your house. Always get at least 3 different quotes from, of course, 3 different providers, and you haven't painted it in 15 years. It will go very far. Even if you have to increase the price of your home in your mind that you're willing to sell at by $5,000, you're going to recoup that money and some. And the same holds true with painting the interior of your walls, especially if you have rooms that are colored in all sorts of different paint colors, blue and red and green. Just go white. Go white. That is such a neutral color. It'll brighten up the entire space. Buyers walking through the home, they're going to have a much easier time seeing themselves living in that home. So you want neutral colors in your home. And if you haven't painted the inside of your house, paint it. My recommendation is to go with Sherwin-Williams pure white. You're going to want to make sure that your house, if it's furnished, doesn't have a lot of clutter. People are going to have to be able to imagine their own furniture in the space. You're going to want to have just enough furniture in a particular room to communicate how the room is being used. For example, in the living room, you're going to want to have the couch, maybe a TV, perhaps just a few extra furnitures, and that's it. So keep it minimum. You're also going to want to make sure that you take your personal items, hide them. If you have religious items on the walls, take those off. Personal photography on the walls or maybe on furnitures, hide those as well. You want to have a very neutral space when it comes to religion. You know, not everybody is a Christian, Jewish, a Muslim. Best is to just take the reference of religion out of the house and enable any buyer to really make the home in their minds theirs. Now, this goes without saying, but if you're going to put images and videos on the MLS, which then flows into Zillow or Realtor.com, make sure that they're quality images and videos. I can't tell you how often I still see shitty images and videos on the MLS. And the MLS is, I would say, from a marketing standpoint, one of the most important avenues to communicate your listing. It goes beyond that, of course, social media, YouTube videos, but it is really the very first place, in most cases, the buyers are going to see your listing. And so it is very important that you get professional photography, professional videos up there. It's a must. Selling a home, guys, does not have to be overwhelming, and it doesn't have to be stressful, especially when you prepare accordingly. Make sure you understand in your local market what type of market it is. You want to understand who your competition is, how fast are homes selling, what's the fair value of your house, and have a good strategy in mind. I think that is going to avoid any major hiccups. It's going to enable you to get the best price possible for your home, selling it in the fastest way possible as well, if that's important to you. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I always appreciate it. I'll have plenty more videos coming in 2025. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. Like this video. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great holiday season. Happy 2025, and I'll see you soon.